Good afternoon, students. In this class, we are going to see about the election algorithm in the distributed system. Now, this election algorithm is used for electing a coordinator or a leader. Now, who will call for an election? We have n number of processes in the network, and any process in the network can call the election. Since any process can call for the election, multiple concurrent elections will be going on in the network. Now, if it is an election algorithm, there must be a name for the algorithm. So, traditional two election algorithms are bully algorithms and ring algorithms. What is the necessity for this election algorithm? Suppose we have a system with we have a network with n systems, and one of the system fails or crashes. Now, the network has to work in a normal way without showing this failure. So, someone has to take the role or has to do the work of this failure, the system which has failed. Now, this coordinator which will be elected using this election algorithm will take over the role of the failed process. So, he will do the work of the failed process. We'll see the bully algorithm first. Some consideration has to be made before going into the algorithm. Suppose we have n process in the systems, and each process will have a unique numerical ID. So, in our examples, we have taken the numerical ID as 1, 2, 3, 4 up to n. And second consideration is, every process will know the ID and the address of every other process involved in the network. So, every process will know the ID of every other process to whom it is communicating. And the key idea of this bully algorithm is, it will elect a process with the highest process ID. And so, since every process can start the election process, messages will be flowing between this process. So, it is assumed that order of n square messages are required with the n process. Now, we see the algorithm. Suppose process P sends a message to the coordinator. Option 1 is the coordinator can either reply back to it or it will not reply back. If it is not going to reply back, if the coordinator does not respond to it within a particular time, that is the time interval t, then it is assumed that the coordinator has failed. So, if the coordinator has failed, the election algorithm has to be started, right? Now, the process P will send an election message to every process with a high priority number. Suppose the process P is with the process ID 3. It will not send a message to 1 and 2. It will send a message only to the process 4, 5 and 6 up to n. Because it will send a message to every process with high priority number. After sending the message, it will wait for, now it has sent some message and it has to wait for some reply. Either the reply can come or the reply cannot come. If the reply does not come, it is assumed that this process is the coordinator. Otherwise, what happens we'll see. It waits for the response. That is, it is waiting for the reply. If no response for the time interval t, then process P elects itself as the coordinator. It is electing itself as the coordinator. So, after electing itself as the coordinator, now this process has to inform the other process in the network that it has become the coordinator, right? So, it sends a message to all the lower priority numbers that it has got elected as the coordinator. So, this is how a bully algorithm will work. Now, we see with an example the same working process of this bully algorithm. So, this bully algorithm deals with 3 types of messages. One is election message. Now, this election message is used to announce the election. Second is answer message, and the answer message is the response that it gets back from the process. Third is coordinator message. Once a process is selected as a coordinator, it will send the coordinator message to all the other processes in the network to inform that it has got elected as the coordinator. Now we see with an example. Let us assume we have a network with 6 processes and the process 6 has got crash. Assume that process 2 have sent a message to 6 and did not get any reply back from the 6. So now process 2 has come to the conclusion that 6 has crashed. If a process does not get a message and if one of the processes got crashed, now this process has to start the election. This process start the election by sending an election message to all the process with highest process ID. See, the process is 2 and it is sending a message to process 3, 4 and 5. For 1 it is not ending because it is a process with lower process ID. So every process on receiving this election message, it is replying back with the OK message. OK message is nothing but a responding back. Now, since it has got a OK message with all the other process 3, 4 and 5, process 2 will stop the election process and it will hand over the process to the next higher priority process and it will leave the election process. Now, process 3 will take up the election and it will send the election message to all the process with the higher priority number. So, the higher priority number is 4 and 5. So as soon as the process receives the election messages, it will reply back with the OK message. So OK message is sent to process from process 4 and process 5 to process 3. Since it is getting a message from all the other process, now this process will leave the election process and it will hand over the election process to process 4. Suppose if it is not going to get a message from any of the process 3 will elect itself as the coordinator and it will send a message to all the lower priority process ID. But here since it has got a election OK message from all the other process, now it will hand over the election process to process 4. Process 4 will send the election message to process 5. Because it is the only process with higher process ID. Now process 5 will send a message back to OK message back to process 4. Since it has got a OK message, now process 4 will stop the election process and it will give the handover the control to process 5. Now process 5 will send a message to all the other process, but there is no other process. So it will not get any message back to it. Since it is not getting any response, it will elect itself as the coordinator and it now after electing itself as a coordinator, it has to inform the other lower process ID process with lower process ID. It will send a coordinator message to all the other process with lower process ID that it has got selected as the coordinator. This is how a Bully algorithm will works for electing the or selecting any one process as the leader or coordinator. Thank you students. Hope you understood this Bully algorithm.